welcome back to Our Issues Hampton Roads. I'm your host, Ray Pearson. Here with me today are Jay Johnson and Sheila Arnold, co-founders of Everybody's Got a Story, which can be found at hamptonstorytelling.art, an organization that celebrates the voices, experiences, and rich histories of the people who call the city of Hampton or Hampton Roads home. Now, I'm just telling you, I love the energy, and I can see that you all are professionals. I'm not dealing with any amateurs because I want to sit over here and just say, and you're right from the last segment, not that I want to say I'm young because, you know, I'm young at heart, but some of the best stuff from my experiences that are no longer, because my grandparents are gone, are the times that I sat at their feet and just listened to them cackle and tell a story. Because who they were was not what I got to see. It was who they became and the regalness of who they were. And then I got to hear from their stories that they were like me. And I think people need to know that to carry on and to move us forward, right? So how did you recognize that everybody has a story needed to exist?
Well, one thing, we saw that people were talking at each other and not to each other. And so we start to think of what is it that brings commonalities to the forefront. And it's the stories. You know, even if your story is different from mine, somewhere in there's a common thread that we can feed off of as we begin to know each other. That was one thing. The other thing is people had in their heads that storytelling was somebody sitting in a rocking chair with a book. And we had to get that out of people's heads, you know, to talk about the fact that as storytellers, we research the story, we find out who the people were, we get the people and the stories inside of us to transmit them to you. And you then listen, and you get an aura of being in a different time or a different place or with different people that is freeing, but also it's connecting.
And the stories that you're telling allow people to live on who are gone, right?
They do, but it's not just. We don't just tell personal stories. We're not just telling historical narratives. We try to tell lots of different stories. So we can tell cultural stories, stories that encourage Anansi, the spider from Ghana, and talk about how we brought over stories from when we had nothing else inside and people thought, you know, we're empty vessels. We aren't. We were bringing the stories. They were bringing the culture along with us. But it wasn't just African Americans. It was Irish immigrants who brought Jack over as part of what they do and brought over other stories and tales. So those parts are just as real as the stories about our history and our personal backgrounds.
So what kind of storytellers do you guys have in your complement?
And she's going to have me answer this question, and the reality is that we have a combination of storytellers. So we have for our annual festival that we do in July of every year, we bring in storytellers that are regional storytellers around our region, meaning the states that are connected to us usually. And we bring in those who are they go internationally and nationally, and they tell stories on various
beyond Hampton.
Oh yeah. So we bring in those storytellers because we want people to see that this is really a skill. It's really a mastering, and just get a sense of where you can go with storytelling. And then we also have local storytellers throughout the Hampton Roads area that we bring in, that we see. We will see people and we'll go, oh my gosh, you can tell a story. Why don't you join us? We have had for a while now the Hampton Story Swap that we do monthly as we get together. Well, we love this. This is so much fun because we just gather together once a month, and you can find it on our website. And we gather together once a month and for 2 hours, and we just share stories. But you don't have to come share stories, because the other part you get to do is just listen. So you can be a story listener, you can be a storyteller. I will tell you that most people who come and say, I didn't come here to tell a story. I came here so I could listen to a story. And the next thing you know, they're talking. They're saying a story.
You know what? I thought maybe I should,
And we try to find areas, so people will come in that want to tell their stories. But then if we have a little lull, we'll just put up something that'll be like a little story or a little something and then say, do you have something like that? And oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And it just leads to all kinds of areas that, people that hadn't thought about or didn't know or just remembered.
So your talent list entertains each other as well.
Yeah, yes, it entertains each other, and then we grow each other. Because at the swap, you can ask to have feedback. You can ask to, I want to try this some more. And sometimes it's just, I just want to share a story, or that made me laugh. I'm just going to share it. And that's okay as well. Yeah. It's all those different levels. So we help each other to grow. And then we also have a monthly program that brings in storytellers again from around the region. Now, it is named after Jay because Jay said, I just don't want people's ears to get rusty. So we call it the No Rusty Ears monthly storytelling program. She said, I can't believe you actually named it that. And I'm like, yep, that's what it's called, No Rusty Ears. Okay. And so we bring in a storyteller every month. That's, again, a more formal storyteller, a more professional story or semi-professional storyteller from around the region. And they come and they share stories. And again, but the great thing is the question and answer part. I think that is some of the...
In the interview session, we ask people, was there anything in this story that you connected with or you want to talk about? And so the audience has a chance really to participate out of their listening.
Oh, so this is interactive.
Yes.
Yes. And we are really working hard to open our, to be more inclusive and, and to really open the boundaries. So we've had a deaf storyteller, and so they've spoken. We had to have a voice interpreter.
Oh.
So
and at that event, there were 40 deaf and hard of hearing people in the room.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's probably really exciting for them because they thought they had been forgotten or not represented.
Absolutely.
And there you are, you're represented.
But that also enabled us to let them know that we have ASL interpreters at mostly all of our performances.
Absolutely.
Particularly during the Storytelling Festival in July. So they can come at any time.
What? There's somebody watching right now that's sitting going, can't nobody tell a story like me. So what makes somebody a candidate or for your talent list?
I would say that if you feel like you can tell a story, which it's very funny, Ray, that you say that, okay? Because most people do not say, can't nobody tell a story like me.
Right.
Most people, they don't. Jay never came to me saying, I can tell a story. Jay came because someone...
Hilarious.
Jay came because someone said, I'm tired of you thinking about you writing something. Go learn some storytelling. Maybe you need to tell the story. Well, the moment she opened her mouth, I was like, oh my goodness, this woman, people were hanging on her very word. These young people were just like, oh, she's like my grandma. I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyhow, but it was so natural for her to just tell a story. But she didn't think that she was a storyteller. Most people do not think that their stories have any value. Right. And so they don't think that anybody wants to hear their story. So what we want are people that just want to hear story. And then they want to, I think I might have a storyteller, something to say, or I'd like to try.
After the break, find out what is in the works for Everybody's Got a Story.